I'm out here in the desert yet again in my gym clothing for a day of practice, but I am testing some things today. I just had some issues with the Bodyguard Glock mags, which was a bummer. Not unexpected, but also minimal chance I thought that would happen. Now I'm testing something that I think I'm going to have problems with, and that are the XS sights here in the Bodyguard 2.0. I say that because I'll link the videos down below, but I installed these sights last week, and the rear sight went in fine, a little loose, but they give you a set screw. Front sight was like hot dog down a hallway. It was so loose in there. I've never had sights that loose before, and I was told by the rep that I spoke to at XS to just douche this thing full of red Loctite. Now, for the astute of you out there in the audience, thread locker is thread locker. It ain't glue, and I don't trust this to hold up super great. So we're going to take our time here. And yeah, for those who might be thinking, why didn't you just stake it or something else? I'm planning on staking this at some point, but I needed to try out what the manufacturer recommended before I actually just went to my own solution. And I say that because I'm trying to be as transparent as possible here in the testing and reviewing of these things, right? If they tell you to do something and it sounds stupid, I wouldn't normally do it, but as someone who's testing and reviewing things, I'm going to do it. So we're just here at 5 yards. I'm just going to do some shooting here. Red Loctite's rated to like 450 degrees. The gun's not going to get that hot unless I were to dump like 1,000 rounds through it. And then at that point, I think the frame would start to have more issues than the slide does. But if I start to see any movement, we're done. So yeah, so just come up here. The sight profile is a lot nicer. Front sight's not sliding. Yeah, I will say that one of the issues I've seen from people, yeah, no. One of the things here is that I've heard a lot of people say, well, the Bodyguard's a tiny gun, you're just going to pull it left if you're a right-handed shooter, right? And that is certainly a thing that can happen and will happen. However, as someone who does a fair bit of two-handed and one-handed shooting, I found that the Bodyguard, on mine at least, when the sights are totally dead center, the gun still wants to pull to the left here. So I'm going to do just both two hands, real slow break. Yeah, it's still pulling to the left there. Yeah, so it's hard to see it. I did have one that I shanked off to the right when I did some one-handed shooting with the left hand there. But it is there. I can adjust the rear sight. I mic'd them with my calipers that they both should be pretty much dead center. I've got a theory that a lot of the Bodyguards have uneven barrel lockup at the front of the gun, which is, you know, half of your lockup is the rear half, the front half. The rear half is the locking block and then the ledge here on the slide. And then the other half is the cutout we have at the front of the slide where the barrel locks up there. I have very uneven barrel wear on my gun, which is part of why I think it's shooting a little off. Now, the mechanical accuracy of the pistol, how do I word this? There's accuracy and precision. The gun should be precise, or it should be mechanically precise, but the accuracies to where the sights are is going to be a little bit weird. I may have gotten that wrong. I apologize to all of my science friends out there. The long and the short is that I'm pretty sure my gun just shoots to the left out of box here. So I'm going to come up one-handed. We're going to be real good with our break here. So yeah, it's a little bit like I'm finding that I'm actually holding a little bit to the right and I'm hitting dead center even when I'm shooting left-handed. And you know, with left-handed, right-handed shooting, you tend to pull a little bit more to one side. Yeah, I mean, the front sight's holding on here. I really don't like the solution of just gluing it, right? But I am going to drift the rear sight to come a little bit over to the right side to help out with the point of aim, point of impact. But that Loctite, I don't have a lot of faith in that, of course, as a solution here. So yeah, let's just dump these two magazines I've got here in my pocket. This is one issue I really don't like because of how tightly they fitted the magazines. To actually get 10 rounds into the gun with the slide forward does require quite a bit of force. And you might be saying, oh, just man up, but this is a gun that they market towards, you know, a lot of different people, not just dudes. And they really did the whole min-max approach for this pistol of trying to make it as small as possible, which means there are some concessions, which is just part of the design. So, yeah, I'm kind of just cutting one ragged hole in there. The front sight does not appear to be moving. This was loose enough that I could punch it with my pinky, and here, if I put enough force on there, it ain't going nowhere. So, and that's just kind of dumping rounds there. Yeah, I'm going to adjust the sights and go from there. I still don't feel that great about the Loctite, but it held up for about 40 rounds there. I think it was 42 rounds was the exact round count there. Yeah, more testing to come. Thank you for watching.